Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Soktantikam. Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuktapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha. Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Dev. Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsa. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावने श्री विश्वानुसुते पूर्णि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धु वैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So, welcome everyone to IBC Siksha. We are going to continue from reading chapter 17th of Bhagavad Gita, where we had left. We had completed 7 texts and we'll go to 8. So, just a small recap. Um, so, this chapter is division of faith, and previous that is chapter of divine and demonic natures. So, not everyone is divine, fully divine. Not everyone is fully demoniac, right? People have varying degrees of divine and demoniac qualities. So, how? Okay. So, people have varying degrees of divine and demoniac qualities, various degrees of mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. So, what happens to them? This is Arjuna's question here. What happens to them who do not follow the scriptures or who follow to only some extent and don't follow in other extent, and they have their own imagination? What happens? So whatever happens according to 3 modes of material nature. Everyone has these 3 modes: goodness, passion, ignorance. And this goodness, passion, ignorance, they are like clothing around us, and they give us results. They influence us in how to do work, and they provide us certain results. So like goodness provides good things in life, passion provides agitation, anxiety, misery, and ignorance provides madness. And they are like different coverings on our body, they are ropes around our body, and they will influence us to do certain work in certain way. So depending on that, we will get results. That's what is the essence of this chapter. And we went into few things, like in the mode of goodness they will worship the demigods, passion they will worship demons, and mode of ignorance they will worship ghosts and spirits. We read this. Then they will undergo severe austerity and penances, which are not recommended in the scriptures. They will be impelled by lust and attachment, basically mode of passion and ignorance. Just like Ravana and Kumbhakarna, they did a lot of severe austerities, but they were impelled by that lust and attachment. Hmm? Now, similarly, everything in the world that we do, food, charity, renunciation, sacrifice, work, etc., they are according to the 3 modes. Now, what we are going to read today is the food. So, before we read, we'll just go through a summary of this. So, food is also of 3 types: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So, goodness is, it provides us strength, health, happiness, satisfaction, juicy, fatty, wholesome, pleasing to heart. So, these are certain foods which provide that. If we eat this, we are happy, right? Now there are certain food which burns. Lot of chili, sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry. They give us misery. So that is food in mode of passion. And food in mode of ignorance, non-vegetarian food, hmm, which increases distress, misery, disease. Um, so if we eat such kind of food, we become that kind of person, right? You are what you eat, isn't it? You are what you eat. So that's about the food. Um, yeah, Krishna talks about food, then he talks about sacrifice, then he talks about austerity, then he talks about charity also, penances, and then charity. All these are in three modes, and they affect us in various different ways. So let's get into it. Okay. So we will read the translations. Can someone volunteer to read these translations?
I can
Can
read
I?
Prabhuji. Read Mataji. I'll read later.
Okay.
From where I have to read?
Text 8.
Text 8. Okay. Hare Krishna. Foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart.
Continue.
One second, no, I think I just one more. Then foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease. Food
Can
prepared
you
more.
can you name such food which causes distress, misery, disease? Do you know of any food?
Pizzas, burgers, and all those chaat items, Prabhuji, chaat.
So
Fried
they may not
items.
cause that much misery. Anything else?
Okay.
Fried items.
Pickles, Prabhuji.
Yes, some misery
Pickles.
it causes, but not so much. Pickles we generally take.
Okay.
Anything that you have heard of, like they ate such food and misery.
That is fried items.
No, no. Sometimes we eat papad and all that. That all fried is okay. But
Huh.
eating fried chilies.
Huh.
How many of you can eat fried chilies?
Yeah, it's very
We
hot.
can't eat, Prabhuji.
Very hot.
It is
Right.
very spicy.
So, that kind of foods, hot chilies, salty, too much of salt also. It increases what? Too much
Acidity.
eating too much salt increases
Blood
Acid.
pressure, BP.
blood pressure. Yeah. Um, then I talked about one. In Japan, they eat a fish called puffer fish.
Mm-hmm. Operate.
Puffer fish is poisonous fish,
Oh.
but it is a delicacy also. And it so happens that every year, 1 to 2 people die eating that fish,
Oh.
but they don't stop eating it.
Mm.
So it causes misery, it causes death, but still people go and eat it.
Even
Burgers,
mushrooms, Prabhuji. Mushrooms are also some are poisonous, but still
yeah,
people
yeah, yeah. Some are
eat
poisonous,
a
right?
certain kind of mushrooms.
Right,
It is
right, right.
a non-vegetarian food. Mushrooms.
Mushroom is not non-vegetarian; it is vegetarian. But spiritual people don't eat that.
I know.
It is like borderline, no, Prabhuji? I
It
mean,
is
like
actually a fungus.
between veg and non-veg,
No, no. It
something
is.
like
It
that.
is a veg. It
Okay.
is a veg, but it is a fungus, and it grows in a dark area, and it increases mode of ignorance actually. Because see how it grows. It grows in a damp area. It grows, where things are very marshy, and the climate is very very cold. And then, like you said, it is sometimes poisonous. Sometimes it is hallucinogenic. Hallucinogenic means after eating it, one feels nausea, vomiting. One feels that he's flying or something. All that kind of hallucinogenic effects are there. Now, if we
Okay.
drink milk, we don't feel like that, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So it is like that. So only some types of mushrooms are edible, not
Mm.
all. But yeah, spiritualists avoid that. Okay. Okay. Now, which foods are pleasing to heart, juicy, fatty? Can you
Fruits,
name them?
vegetables, milk, and dairy products,
Right. And grains.
grains,
Right.
millets.
Millets. Good. Now, if we go to food in mode of ignorance, can anyone read this?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness.
Yeah. So, name such foods which are like decomposing, tasteless.
Yesterday's leftover.
Okay. Anything more?
Non-vegetarian food only, Prabhuji.
Yes. See, the moment the animal is killed or the fish is killed, the body starts decomposing.
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 Now, to
Okay.
reduce that decomposing, what people do?
They keep it in ice.
Ice and salt, right?
They mix it with turmeric, salt, and keep it in the ice.
Yeah. But it is decomposing.
Hmm.
So any food that is decomposing and all that, you can imagine how kind what effect it has on our consciousness. That food which is animal's flesh, that animal died with such pain. If we eat that food, then that pain is transferred to us also. That's why non-vegetarian eaters, they are so disturbed in their life, right? When they come out of eating all that, they are not like sadhu. They are a sadhu. Right?
Hmm. Yes, Prabhuji.
When they drink and all that, after coming out, what they do?
They sleep.
No,
Or they
if they drive cars and all that, what they do?
they lose their balance, emotion, mental
Yeah,
strength. They lose their
and
emotional balance.
almost all the accidents that happen is because of drinking.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hmm? Now, is grape in mode of goodness or passion or ignorance? Grapes.
Which one,
Grapes.
Prabhuji? Grapes.
Hmm.
Mode
Grapes
of
in maybe in fresh form it is in goodness, but when it is decomposed and made into wine, it is
Yeah.
again it is in the form of ignorance.
Yes. Yeah. The same food which is in mode of goodness can turn into mode of darkness.
Ignorance. Huh.
Yeah, mode of ignorance. But now let's talk about Balaji Tirupati Balaji Prasad. Suppose somebody
Huh.
goes from your family to Tirupati Balaji. After how long do you get that prasad?
After maybe 2 3 days or so.
So according to this, 3 hours. If anything greater than 3 hours, then it is in mode of ignorance.
But there also they prepare and keep for
They
quite
offer it to the Lord, no Prabhuji, then it because it is prasadam, it is purified.
Yes. So when we offer vegetarian food to Krishna, then it is purified. Then, however old it is, it maintains the transcendental taste in it.
Okay.
It maintains the consciousness, the divine consciousness in it. Hmm? It can go bad and it can go stale. That can happen. right?
Yes.
Tirupati Balaji maybe 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, right? But
Yes,
then it can
Prabhuji.
go stale also. Yes
Prabhuji,
or
I
no?
have a doubt regarding this. Sometimes even friends they give us prasadam, no? It suppose sometimes it starts have forming that white layer. In such situations, what should we do? We know that it has crossed its
Yeah.
freshness level. Then what should we do with that? We
No,
cannot eat
such
it.
food is not consumed by human body because
Uh,
it can harm us. So we
okay,
should,
then what should we
yeah,
do
we should
to that?
respect it. We should touch it with our head. Sometimes we should respect it, and then
Hmm.
we should give it to animal or put it in the river.
But we don't have rivers, no, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Or you should dig it in the ground and keep it. Then the decomposing animals they eat it.
Acha, acha.
Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah. When we talk about prasad, right? If it is fit
Ah,
for consumption or it is not fit for consumption,
hmm.
it is divine. But when it
Yes,
is
Prabhuji.
not fit for consumption, one should not eat it. Only one should respect it. Otherwise, what will
Ah,
happen is that prasad will be divine, but it will give us some distress,
hmm.
right? Upset stomach and all that.
And it
So it's
becomes
like that.
hard to chew also, Prabhuji. I mean,
No,
sometimes it
hard to
becomes
chew is
very
fine,
hard.
but if it
Yeah.
develops some mold or something, then it can do food poisoning also. No?
No, yes.
So yeah, so one should not prasad is not immune to food poisoning like that,
Hmm.
because ultimately it's matter, but it is spiritualized. So we should respect it. We should you know like sometimes you should hold it to your head and then dispose it off in a river or in a pond, or dig it in the ground and keep it, or give it to some animal, you see,
Hmm.
like that.
Yes.
Once like this this January or February, I was in when Jagannath Puri, and there I ate I bought a Jagannath Prasad, and after 1 or 2 days there was some thing that grew on it, and I didn't look at it and I ate it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't knew that, but fortunately nothing happened. But the remaining prasad I then had to give it to animal. So
Okay, Prabhuji.
yeah. So such thing can happen,
See, these days we hardly find animals also, Prabhuji. We don't find anything,
No, that is
any.
fine. Ants are there always. Ants is there. If you dig
Okay,
it in the
okay.
ground and keep, right, then there's so many bacteria, amoeba, all that they come.
True, true.
They'll decompose
Yes.
it, right? It should not be touched
Hmm.
by feet. You should
Ah,
have
yes.
give it some respect, like that.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so prasad, it doesn't come under this 3 hour rule. It can only come under the food poisoning rule, which we have to take care. Okay, but
Yes.
otherwise it doesn't come under this 3 hour rule. So therefore we should eat only prasadam. And prasadam is mode of goodness prasadam, vegetarian food without onion garlic, right?
Yes.
So all that will increase mode of goodness in us. See, milk can also become spoiled, right?
Hmm. Yes, Prabhuji.
Then what to do? So previously what they would do, if there is huge quantity of milk, they would convert it to curd, then they would convert it to ghee. And ghee, if you
Hmm.
keep for many months also, it will remain good,
True.
right?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. But that's how there were solutions. Okay.
Yes.
So we read about food in three modes. Now, and we read about prasadam also. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. So he says, I eat only um, patram,
Footsteps
vegetables,
offered with love. Yes.
leaf, pushpam, flowers, phalam, fruits, toyam means water. There is no matanam, chickenam, andanam. So, so Krishna eats only this vegetarian food, and detail to it is no onion, no garlic also, and it should be offered with love. Now, if somebody eats vegetarian food in a hotel,
Hmm.
is it offered with love?
No, Prabhuji.
No. For
With
the
the
Leave.
sake of
intentions of
serving
making
people.
money.
Yeah, the motivation over there is just to make money. Whether you eat it or not eat, you have to pay for it. I don't care. Right? But when we
Yes.
eat at our mother's place, same patram pushpam phalam toyam, it is offered
With
with
love
great
and
love, right?
affection. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So that's why food eaten at home and same food if we buy it from outside eat, we won't feel satisfied mentally. Physically we may feel, but mentally we won't be satisfied. We may feel some agitation, right?
Yes,
This is
yes, Prabhuji.
everyone's feeling. Therefore people take food from their home and they take it with them. And the reason for that is because it is made with care and love. And if it is prasadam, so it is even greater. Okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So now we'll go to sacrifice. Of sacrifice, the sacrifice performed according to the direction of the scriptures as matter of duty by those who desire no reward is of the nature of goodness. So when sacrifice is performed, if we offer something, and if that offering is done without the desire of any reward, and that I don't desire anything in return of it, I want to do it just like a matter of duty, then it is mode of goodness, right?
Mm.
So what happens if somebody desires something and then he does some sacrifice? What happens?
Then it comes under the mode of passion, Prabhuji, because in passion, everything is done with an expectation of getting some reward.
But then what happens? Somebody may say, what is the problem in this desiring for reward? Why I should get something out of it. Why should I do just for the sake of doing? What is the answer to them?
Um,
See, first of all, this is not a job. What is it? It is a
mm.
sacrifice. Sacrifice means giving up voluntarily, right?
Yes.
Like a mother gives up voluntarily to take care of the child. Yes or no?
Mm. Yes,
We have all
Prabhuji.
mothers today in the class. But yeah, parents, they voluntarily sacrifice. When the child is
Yes.
born, the first 3 months or 6 months are just so difficult. The
Yes, Prabhuji.
child,
No sleep at all.
no
Yeah.
sleep at all. Yeah, almost all mothers face this.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Even fathers also face this, but mothers face the most. But
Yes.
if she decides some reward out of it, what will happen?
Then it's not like it's out of love. So love should be always unconditional. Love is always
Yeah,
unconditional.
but if it becomes conditional, what will happen?
Then there would be no happiness and satisfaction and
There would
unnecessary.
be fights and arguments. I did so much for you.
You
What did
have
you
to do
did to
this
me?
for me.
Right?
Hmm. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So,
But it happens, no, Prabhuji. Practically, usually I've seen many people like when kids are small, they do it unconditionally. But later, when child refuses, I mean, they are not in
okay,
a
okay. Yeah.
situation.
So, see, that
Uh,
uh, example that I gave, it has some more meaning to it also. We will read
yes.
that in today's chapter. But the point is, if that sacrifice is done unconditionally, that is fine. But if one desires something out of it, then that unconditional is lost and it becomes conditional, and the other person may not fully satisfy, and it leads to a lot of argument and dissatisfaction and disheartening,
Yes,
right?
Prabhuji.
So ultimately that sacrifice which was done for a good cause ends up in misery, right?
Yes,
So
Prabhuji.
when it ends up in misery, then it is mode of passion.
Passion.
Okay.
It
Now
becomes selfishness.
in regards to parents, right? In regards to parents, you asked this very nice question. So Krishna later on he'll say, ah, that serving superiors like father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, like that, is actually mode of goodness. It's a austerity of body, but it's in mode of goodness. So that is to be done. And to remind that to the child, the father and mother can say that. You see? They can say that because it is a part of the austerity of the mind, of the body. It is a part of mode of goodness. So if sometimes parents may say, we did so much for you, it is your duty to take care of father and mother. They are right. They are partly right. There's no wrong in it. Because Krishna says here, austerity of body consists of worshipping Supreme Lord, Brahmana, spiritual master, and superiors like father and mother. So this is actually a part of duty. And it is right to make the child remind of the duty. You're getting?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So that is fine. Um, so that was your question, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. 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 So to make the child remind of it, then the parent can say, okay. But the parent should not demand it. You see, parent should also be detached. Hmm? But if the child is not behaving properly, forgetting the duty, then the parent has a right to make them
Reminder.
remind. Okay. So yeah, so it's a balance. Okay, so we are reading sacrifice, right? Hmm. Now, but the sacrifice performed for some material benefit, for the sake of pride, for sake of name, fame, then it is for mode of passion. See, what kind of sacrifice is performed for material benefit? Can you name?
Yaga, yajna.
No, yajna and all that is described in the scriptures. But yes, it should be done without as a matter of duty and not for any reward. The reward is not the aim, but it is a byproduct and it just comes on its own. But it should not be done for that particular purpose. Anyway, what are the sacrifices that people do for material benefit? Do you know?
If I get this, I'll offer you so much. I
Okay,
will
that
give
is
you.
uh, that is also there. But let's take examples. Sports.
Mm,
Now, sports person they sacrifice so much, right?
mm,
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, they sacrifice. They do so much austerity, exercises, and so much time they spend. They're definitely sacrificing, but it is for some material benefit
mm,
to get that medal and all that. It's a sake of pride. So therefore, there is some misery in it, right? Sometimes they don't get, they shout and they say, "Why you didn't give me?" Right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So we see that sometimes. Then in a job, people sacrifice. It is for benefit, right? But it is mode of passion also. So there will be some misery also, right? So therefore, job is never in mode of goodness. It is always in mode of passion. There is some misery involved in it. If one doesn't get salary, will he continue working?
No.
No, right?
No.
So there will be some misery in it, because that is done for some material benefit. Okay.
Prabhuji, all these actors also, they
Yeah.
undergo, they also
Yes.
work so hard and
Yeah.
spend so much time and energy in good looks and all, and they expect appreciation from some kind
Yes.
of
And if they don't
awards
get,
and things.
they get angry.
Hmm.
Right? They get angry. If they are rejected by someone, they start abusing. So yeah. So such sacrifices are not meant in scriptures, na?
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So therefore they have to give some misery. Now, any sacrifice which is performed without regards to direction of scriptures, without distribution of prasadam, without chanting the Vedic hymns and remuneration to the priest, and without faith is considered to be mode of ignorance. Can you tell me such sacrifice? It's without faith, without direction of the scriptures.
Sacrificing animals.
Yeah, in slaughterhouse. Yes, in
Yeah.
slaughterhouse. Anything more that comes to your mind? We have election, right?
Huh.
So sometimes people go through do hartal, fasting,
Fast
election
unto death.
time, and
Like,
politicians, they do such thing, right?
Mm.
um, they go for what they call strike, hunger
hunger
strike.
strike. Hunger
Super fast.
strike.
Yeah, hunger strike they go. Now hunger strike is not according to shastra. Hunger strike from shastra's perspective is on ekadashi or
Hmm.
janmashtami, for the pleasure of the lord. But their hunger strike is for what pleasure? Is it according to shastra? No.
For their own benefit.
For some demands have to
For
be
some
met.
demands,
They
is it with faith in god? No.
No.
So now, mode of ignorance. What is the result of mode of ignorance? Mode of passion is misery. Mode of ignorance is
madness.
MAD. MAD.
Madness.
Madness.
Madness. So that's why we see these politicians. They undergo such sacrifices, but ultimately it ends in madness only. They are not able to solve anything. It just creates a nuisance, chaos in the society. Work is not done. All right, government work is not done. Time is wasted. It's all madness, right? It would have been better if they had filed a case in the court. At least the court would have ordered and then they would have followed, right?
Mm.
So that's how sacrifice which is not under the direction of scriptures, it will result in madness only. Hunger strike is one of the examples. So whenever we do some sacrifice, there has to be direction of the scriptures. It should be said in the scriptures. It should be involving prasadam distribution. It should be including chanting of the Vedic hymns. Remuneration to the priest. Some donation to the priest should be given. And it should be done with faith. Not without faith, but with faith. That it will work. It is done for the sacrifice of Vishnu. It is done for the sake of Vishnu. It will please Vishnu. That faith should be there. Otherwise, it will be madness. Why did I spend so much money on it? Right? Sometimes people do such puja and all that, and then they cry. Why did I put so much money on it? Because they are in mode of passion. They want something out of it. They don't get it. They don't remunerate the priest, and they are not doing it with faith. They are doing it grudgingly. Then madness will be there, no? Then they will lose faith in that whole process, right? Okay. Okay. Now, austerity of the mind. Austerity of the body, sorry. Let's get into it. Huh? Someone read this. Austerity of the body.
Okay, Prabhuji. Austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like their father and mother, and in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence.
Yeah, so with the body, how do we worship the Supreme Lord?
By keeping it clean and by paying obeisances.
Yeah, by paying obeisances. By keeping our body clean and using the body for the purpose of serving Krishna and performing our prescribed duties. How do
Prescribed
we
duties.
serve the Brahmana with our body?
Brahmanas.
By offering prasad.
Yeah, offering prasad,
And by giving them
remuneration,
remuneration.
yeah, obeisances, and spiritual master.
By
Obey.
serving the spiritual master.
Yes. What is
By
the
by
best service that one can do to the spiritual master?
Obey
by
his orders.
by obeying their instructions, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yes. Even prior to obeying the instruction, one should.
Pay obeisance.
Complete faith in them.
Okay. Faith is right.
Complete faith in them and
Spiritual master is like a teacher, right? So how
yes.
does uh, what is the minimum thing the teacher expects?
Humbleness, Prabhuji,
Paying
the a
respect.
submissive mode. Submissive
Yes. Yes.
mode.
Submissive mode, humbleness. That is there. What do they expect in a class?
Obey his
Discipline.
orders.
Obeying. Discipline, listening to their instructions the way
Yes.
they tell us.
Attentive listening. To the spiritual master, one should attentively listen. This is one of the basic service. Even before they serve, it is attentive listening which will please the spiritual master. And this was shown in Srila Prabhupada's uh, life. That Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj himself said that he likes to hear. And once what happened is they went to Vrindavan Parikrama. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, okay, some of the devotees go to this so and so place, holy place, but I won't come today. But I will give a lecture in the tent, and others can go. Then it was Prabhupada who was Abhacharan day at that time. He decided not to go with the devotees, and he decided that I will simply listen from my spiritual master. And when Bhaktivedanta Maharaj saw that he was there and he was listening, then he pointed and said that he likes to hear. So one of the big service that one can do to the spiritual master is hear what he's saying and then follow what he's saying, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Superiors like father and mother, of course, to take care of them, listen to them, serve them, right?
To take care of them.
Cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, non-violence. Cleanliness, bodily clean, and internal cleanliness by mantra. Simplicity, without duplicity, without ulterior motives, without a motive to cheat. Celibacy, if one is in brahmachari life, then one should be celibate. No touch with, no contact with women. But within marriage, contact is allowed only with wife and husband. Non-violence. Non-violence is necessary violence. And to be not violent to, um, it's necessary violence. And second thing is also not to be not violent. Yeah, that is also there. So by doing such thing, then it is austerity for the body. Austerity. A very interesting word, this is austerity. if you look at the technical word, tapaha, tapa, tapaha. You know this word tapaha?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
tapa. Austere means severe or strict, having no comforts or luxury. So it's a voluntary pain. So voluntary pain we should do for these reasons of the body. So when the pain is there for the body, for what reason should we give pain to the body? If it is to worship the Supreme Lord, if it's to worship the Brahmanas, if it's worship to the Supreme Person Master, spiritual master, if it's to worship and help father mother, if it's to clean oneself, simplicity, celibacy, non-violence, then it is tapaha for the body, voluntary pain. Okay, now speech. When can we give pain to the speech? When it is consists of speaking words that are truthful, that are pleasing, that are beneficial, not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. So, if we use our speech in doing these to be truthful, pleasing, beneficial, non agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature, then it is a recommended tapaha of the speech. Get it?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay. There are some more points. We will just go through it. Um, in the purports, Prabhupada gives some of the more points. We'll just look at it. Okay, speaking truthful words. Process of speaking in spiritual circle is to say something upheld by the scriptures. If we say something, then we should back it up by what is there in the scriptures. We should be able to tell this is said in this particular verse in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, I am telling you. Should not be just spoken for the sake of speaking, right?
Mm.
Sometimes children do like that. They speak something else, but there is no substance in it, right? So we should not do like that. Second is pleasing and all, not agitating to others. But sometimes we have to use agitating when we are in that role, like teacher or parent. Then we should agitate the student or child. Why? Because it is necessary. It is for the good of the student, right? Then regularly chanting Vedic literature. Can you give me examples? How can we chant regularly Vedic literature? What are the various ways? Yes.
Like reading Bhagavad Gita, Prabhuji?
Yes.
So
Right. Reading
Bhagavad
Bhagavad
Gita,
Gita. Yes.
Bhagavatam.
Yes. And what more? What do you think
All.
about Vishnu Sahasranam?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, chanting the Vedic mantras like Vishnu Sahasranam and so many others. Chanting the holy name and all that. But basically, the Vedic mantras, the Vedic literature, the Vishnu Sahasranam. And what more? Can you name two Vedic literature? Now, Bhagavad Gita comes in one Vedic literature. Which literature does it comes in?
Bhagavad Gita comes in Puranas, Prabhuji.
Which
A
Purana?
history, itihas.
Which Itihas?
Bhagavad Gita comes in Mahabharat, Bhishma Parva.
Yes.
Bhishma
Yes.
Parva.
So Mahabharata and Ramayana, these are also Vedic
Ramayana.
literatures. They are
Yes,
itihasas, and
yes.
we should study them. We should read them.
Yes,
We like to see, so many movies and all that, but it is all the stories reflecting the Mahabharata and Ramayana only, right? Some love stories, some crying, some fighting, some violence. All that is there in Mahabharata and Ramayana also. So one should turn one's attention to Vedic literatures. Now, what is the difference of this Rama Sita love story versus, some Bollywood love story? What is the difference between the two? It almost the
Ram
similar
Sita
only.
love story is a true story.
Okay, even if there is some true story and the actors are doing it,
They
what is
are
the
all
difference between?
concocted.
Huh?
They are all concocted, not true stories.
No, no. Even if it is some true story, even if it is some
their
true story,
story.
then what is the difference between
They
that?
are not related to God. Ram is God.
What is the point of this God? Why a story should be connected to God? Someone can ask this, right? It is the same love story of Ram Sita versus there is another Mr. So and so and Mrs. So and so's love story. What is the difference between these two love stories?
Their love story was like, I mean,
True.
they
It
set
is
an example, Prabhuji. They faced so many hurdles. It was not like a happy ending one. They faced so
Fine,
many
I can
hurdles.
find some story in this world which is also like that.
but it was a true story.
Even I can also find some true story, Mataji. I'll tell you. There was uh, an engineer in the 1900s in the USA,
Mm.
and he had to build a bridge. But what happened is he became paralyzed.
Oh.
Then later on, he somehow started communicating with his wife through his eyes or his lips, something like that, And through that, she could figure out what he's trying to say, and then they completed that project of building the bridge.
Mm.
Now, unless there would have been some great affection between the two, this wouldn't have happened, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes,
I
Prabhuji.
can find some story like that, and I can make a picture out of it, movie out of it. What is the difference between Ramayan's love story versus this love story? What is the difference?
Ramayana is religious.
Okay, yes, religious. Okay. Anything better word that you can use other than religious?
Eternal.
Eternal. Yes, okay, eternal. Anything better than that? Something to add more than, eternal. Adhyatmik. What is the English word for adhyatmik?
Spiritual.
Spiritual. Yes. So this Ram Sita story is actually spiritual, while the other story that I said is material.
Mm.
What it means to be spiritual and what it means to be material? Can you tell me? One thing you tell is eternal. Yes, eternal. Yes, eternal is there. Second, what
Difference
happens
between
when
spirit.
we hear the love story of Ram and Sita versus this love story of this engineer? What happens to one's heart?
Spirituality develops.
Okay.
And we also feel that though they being god and goddesses, if they face so many hurdles, we
Yeah, yeah, that is fine. That is fine. Uh, but it is purifying our heart.
Ah,
That is
yes,
more important.
yes.
In our heart, there are a lot of anarthas, and that get purified by listening to Ramayana.
yes,
Mm.
Prabhu.
But that don't
Yes.
get purified when we listen to some material so-called love story.
Yeah, correct.
Getting? So yeah, so that is the difference. When we talk about
Okay.
spiritual, it cleanses our heart. It makes us pure. By
Yes.
hearing that Ramayana, Valmiki Rishi became Valmiki Rishi.
Mm.
You become a sadhu, right?
Mm.
You don't become a
Yes.
sadhu by so many material love stories.
Mm.
Yeah, so that is the
Right.
difference. So that is the difference. So this austerity, tapaha. So when we do tapa, it is purifying us. Right? Tapa is what? Tapa means it purifies. It's a voluntary pain. If a water is dirty, we voluntarily push it through the filtering membranes, and it is forceful. But what is happening in that whole process? The water is getting purified. So on the other side, you start getting purified. Getting? So if the gold is dirty, and if you want to make a nice necklace out of it, how can we do it? Can we keep banging it? No. We have to burn it, boil it, and then all the impurities run away. And then what remains is pure gold, which you can mold it in the necklace form. Right?
Yeah.
Diamond is not very attractive when it is found. Then you need uh, what they call gemstone maker to grind it, to shape it, and then it becomes very attractive. Getting? So that tapa needs to go. A student learns 4 years of engineering, and then he goes and works in big company and does big projects. Why? Because the tapa he did it. 4 years tapa. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So all this tapa will actually make us purified. So going and reciting Vedic literatures, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Vishnu Sahasranam, holy name, chanting, etc., all that will purify our speech. It will purify our body. And now, austerity of mind. Austerity of mind is what? Satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, purification of one's existence, or austerity of the mind. So mind, there's a tapa for the mind. Let's see. Okay.
So,
Basic principle for the austerity of the mind is one must detach itself from sense gratification and train the mind to always think good for others. Gravity in thought. Gravity in thought means there should be seriousness. Avoid sense gratification, not deviate from Krishna consciousness. And third thing is we should back with whatever we say from the Shastra. We should not just say frivolously without any backing from the Shastra. Then satisfaction. Satisfaction means what? Satisfaction means you take your mind away from sense enjoyment, and then you automatically become satisfied. Best course for divert the mind is to divert it to Vedic literatures like Mahabharata and Ramayana. Then we'll be satisfied. Simplicity, devoid of duplicity and think of others' welfare. Thinking of others' welfare. Now, what is the others' welfare? What do you mean by others' welfare? What do you think all that comes under others' welfare?
Others' welfare means, Prabhuji, we do not put them in, we do not trouble them.
So, welfare is of two types now, material and spiritual.
Spiritual, yes.
Material means take care of the body, mind, etc. We can give them food and etc. We can give them prasad and all. What about the soul? The welfare of the soul. How do you do
To
welfare?
give them knowledge, to educate them about.
Yes, we give them Bhagavad Gita, we give them holy name, we give them prasad.
Educate them about spirituality
Yes.
and
Going
scriptures.
back home, back to God. So when we are thinking all about that, we become very simple. We are devoid of duplicity. We don't talk like businessmen. Right? And therefore we like devotees. Why? Because devotees are simple. If you like some devotee, one of the reason is major reason is simplicity. That this devotee doesn't want to cheat you. He's only helping you for your benefit. He's not going to get anything out of it. Getting? That is simplicity. Self-control. Self-control means control of mind implies detachment from sense gratification. So the detachment from sense gratification is a very recurring theme. So we have to try to remove it from sense gratification. Okay. Purification of one's existence. We have to be straightforward in our dealings. We should not cheat. And 17th verse. These threefold austerities, that means the above three austerities, when it is performed with transcendental faith by men and not expecting any material benefit, again, just without detachment and for the sake of Supreme, to please the Supreme, then this austerity is in goodness. Now, how can these austerities be done in passion? When one is serving the spiritual master or father, mother for some material benefit, when somebody is speaking very pleasingly, you know, buy this, it is just for you, I won't get any money out of it, there is some hidden truth in it, then it is mode of passion, right?
Mm.
So, and austerity in goodness, sorry, in passion we read, and madness, sorry, ignorance. In ignorance, one may serve their parents with ulterior motive to kill them. This has happened, right?
Mm.
So we thought that son was very good. How could he do that? Right?
Mm.
Why? Because the motive behind it was ignorance, madness. Ravana did austerity of body, but it was all madness. He wrote great Shiva Tandava Shotra, but you know the
Mm.
the motive was to please Shiva. That was there, but you know to please him for some material benefit only. He had great self control when he did tapasya, but for what? For a life of enjoyment later on. So then it becomes austerity in passion and ignorance. Okay. Okay. So we will stop here. Hmm? We'll stop here. 17. Any questions or comments? Any questions? Comments?
Prabhuji, this threefold austerity means in Sattva, Raja, and
No, no, no,
Tamoguna.
no, 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 no. What it means is threefold means these three austerities: body, speech, and mind.
Oh, okay, okay, Prabhuji. Okay. Manasa, Vacha, Karmana. Like that.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. So let's meet tomorrow and we'll continue with 18 and we'll try to finish this chapter. Okay. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.